need to know about Mantle before getting started. I wanted to plan a code or long session throughout, but then the feedback that we had gotten was that a lot of people want to know more about Mantle before getting started. So this deck is sort of to make you understand more about the Mantle ecosystem, where it is coming from, what sort of things we are doing. And then we have a nice code along session planned for everybody that was there on community's request as well. So yeah, I think we can dive right in. Cool. So in this session, we'll actually be covering introduction to Mantle, ecosystem advantages, a few things about Mantle testnet, what sort of events the Mantle team is hosting or maybe sponsoring and taking part in. And then also we'll be covering today deploying an NFT contract using Hardhat, Ethers, and Pinata. Amazing. So a very quick intro to Mantle. Mantle is a high-performance modular Ethereum Layer 2 network. So this combines Ethereum rollup with a decentralized data availability layer. When we say rollup, this also means that we also derive the security from Ethereum. Okay. So one of the major questions that we usually get asked is as to how did the Mantle network came to its forming. So for those who don't know, Mantle network is actually a BitDAO initiative. So it is governed and funded by BitDAO. Bit is the native token and the gas token for Mantle, which being governed and also funded by BitDAO, it opens and gives us access to extensive BitDAO ecosystem and partners, and also the resources that are available, which is unparalleled ecosystem and community support, which a lot of other L2s, L1s don't have. Now, yeah, like Mantle is aligned with Ethereum's ecosystems and values. So everything is community owned. It is governed by blockchain. It is EVM compatible. Everything that works for Ethereum, any sort of tools that you want to use, any sort of SDKs or APIs, it will be once we support, I mean, not on the API side, but then yeah, every sort of SDKs that works with Ethereum works with Mantle as well. So why should any developer, let's say, build on Mantle, right? So one of the first things to start is that we provide a familiar EVM environment, right? Like I said before as well, familiar optimism-based tech stack, so everybody can deploy the contracts very easily. Developers can also use the same tooling that they already are using to build on top of Ethereum, right? But what extra advantages are we giving? If you build on Mantle testnet, your performance increases, and also there is high level of security. And also, what sorts of, let's say, leverages can be taken, right? So given, even in the start, I said that Mantle is in layer 2, but then we've taken a modular approach for our blockchain design. So for the ones who don't know, modular approach is where the execution is split, the finality, the data availability, everything is split into parts, and you only get the parts which you all want to need or read, right? Rather than taking everything at the same go, right? And also we have eigenlayer implemented to further reduce the gas fees. So that is there. What are we sort of like doing for builders at the moment? Right now we are at the testnet phase, and constant shipping is what we need, and we wanted to make sure that we are sort of giving a supreme developer experience right from the beginning, right? How do we do that? So right now, like, we are trying to give full stack builder support. So we have access to builders, right? Builder grants to help bootstrap projects and ideas. We have been getting multiple requests for that. We have also been talking, and we'll soon be talking to teams behind the scenes as well. Then we have access to investments through Mantle Ecosystem Fund, which is fairly large, and then roadmap to listings for high potential and faster growing projects. At the same time, we understand that marketing your product, any sort of product that you build, is very important. So we are also providing marketing support on social media, newsletters for projects building on Mantle. Then you also get to showcase your project on Mantle online and during the offline events. And also you get to connect media and we connect media and other channel partners to help promote your projects even further, right? Now, one of the things that developers can definitely take a leverage of being a part of Mantle ecosystem is the large network of partners that we have, right? We have BitDAO, which is a large ecosystem which consists of BitDAO, Bybit, Game 7, Yeeha Games, EduDAO, ZK, and Mirana Ventures. So the ecosystem is pretty large. Yeah, I'll skip this part as I've already covered it, but then yeah, I'll make sure to share a few info a little later. Amazing. So coming to the main part where most of the developers are actually interested in, when we talk about bounties, grants, and also let's say investments. So right now you can see that we already have multiple hackathon bounties running. Like for ETH for all, we had like 15K in bounty, and I was amazed to see a lot of let's say the ideas that were being sent to me on DMs. Really happy to see those. I mean, I'm eagerly waiting for those projects being shipped, and then connecting with the developers after they ship the V1 of the project as to how Mantle can help, and our DevRel team especially can help them build on different versions and different scales as well. Now, talking about hackathon bounties, so Mantle is a builder-centric chain, and we obviously support a large number of hackathons, bounties for builders, building projects on Mantle, and bounties to also no-code builders. Like we have UI UX tracks as well, and we've had public good tracks as well, which have been running. Also at this stage, that there have been multiple requests where we've been asked due to various reasons that if let's say the code isn't deployable, so we've actually approved like good amount of requests where we wanted to just make sure that we also help them build and sort of focus more on the ideas rather than the code being shipped out, right? Because ideas at the testnet phase mattered a lot to us. And then, yeah, comprehensive ecosystem grants, which is being built, and we're talking to multiple developers behind the scenes to get this started. And also ecosystem fund is there, like 150 million fund to invest in projects and building on Mantle. That is there. So what do you get as early adopters and testnet? What all things can be done? So there are testnet grants that we just talked about. There are bug bounties. If you find bugs, you're constantly testing things out. Then there's bugs to be solved, and you tell us the bugs, and then there's bounties for those, and obviously marketing support, and very heavy marketing support from our end. Now, just to cover quickly as to what all events we're doing till May, and how you can hack together with our team, let's say online or offline, right? So we are present at ETH for All, which is already going on, which is this one. We also have an ongoing hackathon, which is known as Gitcoin Mantle Mash. And then we will be very soon at Sozu House NYC. So definitely looking forward to that as well. Then we have ETH Denver. I'll make sure to maybe take a screenshot and put this up online somewhere. But then if you go to mantle.xyz/developers, most of the information will be there, right? Cool. Coming to one of the main parts of the workshop, and as to why I was just rushing through the first part, was to make sure that the main motto of this session is actually done. So I would request everybody to ready their laptops for a quick walkthrough. In under 15 minutes, we will be deploying a custom NFT smart contract using hard at ethers, Solidity, obviously, onto the Mantle testnet. I'll make sure to do it ASAP so that we cover it under 30 minutes. But then, yes, the prerequisites will be normal. Like you have to have a Node.js version installed on your system. It has to be greater than 14. That's all. Also, MetaMask setup from your end, right? We need the private key. You don't have to share it, obviously. But then, yeah, we need the private key for setting up and configuring. Cool, like 30 seconds for everybody to open their laptops and also their favorite IDs, whatever that may be. My personal favorite is VS Code. Nothing is able to be, yeah, so let's get on to it. Yeah, like I'm waiting for 30 seconds, hoping that everybody opens their laptops and then we can just get started. Also, I can see there might be a lot of questions as well. I'll try my level best to go to the questions. My team members are there as well, so they'll answer the questions on the go. But then, yeah, we'll take the questions at the end. Cool. I think we are good to go. Let me just open a new VS Code, new window. Cool. Hopefully my screen is visible. Let me just zoom in as well. So that, yeah, I think this should be readable on everybody's screen.
Yep, it is.
Okay, sounds good. Cool, amazing. Let's get started as to what we are trying to cover in this quick walkthrough again. So in this tutorial, we are deploying an NFT ERC721 using Hard Solidity onto the Mantle testnet. I mean, let's see, if we have more time left, we'll run over the minting part as well, which is a pretty exciting part. But then if not, we'll just deploy a contract. Cool, I think we can go ahead. First, before creating a node project, let me just create the file for the project. Let me just see as to what all is there. CD projects. Okay, I'm in projects. Let me create the let me create my project really quick. Let me just check as to everything is running. Yep, it should be good to go. Let me name the project as trial NFT and trial NFT. Trial NFT, cool. Now, this was just creating the folder. This is nothing major. I was just using terminal to do it. You can manually do it as well, but you have to make sure that your terminal opens in the folder. Also, for the Windows, it shouldn't be that different. For creating your folder, you can also do it just manually. You can just make sure that your terminal is opened in the root directory of the folder that you're trying to make the project in. Amazing. Now what we do is we type npm init y, right? So basically, this is a command that is used to initialize a new Node.js project and create a package.json file. What is a package.json file? It is a config file for Node.js projects, which holds like almost all sorts of important information that will be needed. Let's say the project's name, version, description, dependencies, and also scripts. Cool. Without wasting time, let's install Hard to the same root directory as well, because that is what we are using. Yeah. So we can run the command npm install save dev hard. I'll explain as to what I'm doing. Let me just check if this works. Yeah, till the time it is installing. So basically, this is a command to install the Hard Ethereum development environment. And save dev Hard is basically, it gets installed as a dev dependency for the Node.js project, right? Once this gets installed, all we have to do is then run the command and run the Hard in the project using npx. Waiting for this to get installed. Cool, this is good to go. Then we do npx hard hat. Yeah, so this will be like a thing which you can go up and down on. You can use your arrow keys to navigate, create a JavaScript project. Once you are on that, click enter. Let me just maximize my terminal. We click enter again. Yes, yes. Yep, it is installing. Also, for the beginners out there, as to why we are using NPX. So NPX is basically a tool that comes with Node.js and allows you to execute the Node.js packages, right? And hard hat was the name of the package. So that is why we were writing NPX hard hat. After it is installed, we also have to run a test is to see if it is installed properly, because I mean, config is the most of it, which takes a good amount of time. Otherwise, we should be good to go. Let me check npx hard hat test. Cool. You should see that every check should basically pass, and it would say 9 passing 3 seconds. Then everything is good to go. Then you can basically follow along, right? I'll wait for like 10 seconds for everybody to come to the same step, and I'll also repeat till then. So basically all we have done is we've just created a new file, opened the terminal in that basically file slash folder. We've installed. Um, so yeah, so then we've used npm init which is the command to initialize a new node project. Then we have set up the dev environment as hard hat. So we have run hard hat. We have then made sure to call hard hat as well. Then npx hard hat to check if um, npx hard hat to check, and also which allowed us to execute the whole hard hat package. And then yeah, npx hard hat test to make sure that everything is working properly and hard hat has been installed properly. Cool. Yeah, so coming on to the next step. So we'll be using Open Zeppelin's contract package for this one. This basically gives us access to ER 721 implementations. That is the standard of NFTs. And on top of that, we will be building our contract and making few changes to it, right? So all you have to do is write npm install @open zeppelin. Wait, yeah, I was confused. Sorry. Slash contracts of open zep. I Yep. Just a second. Yep, we're good to go. I mean, for the ones who are just getting started, these vulnerabilities, they will obviously come. So there's multiple reasons why it comes, but then we can sort of not worry about it now. If let's say this contract isn't deploying, then we can walk through various test cases to see as to what works and what sort of not works. But then right now we don't have to pay attention to it. It is nothing to worry about. Cool. Now that we have installed the Open Zeppelin's contract package, we will use Solidity to write a contract. So what we have to do is first we have to navigate to the folder, trial NFTs, open it. Cool. We go to contracts. And over here, we create a new project, new contract, which is known as my. Cool. I think I'll wait for a few minutes for everybody to come to the same. Yeah, I think by then I can also look at the chat as to what is happening. Chat looks good. Giving 10 minutes for everybody to just, or I can give a recap as well if anybody asks for it on the chat. Otherwise, we are good to go. Cool. I think we are good to go. So under contracts, we create mynft.sol. So we'll be using standard pragma solidity. Here we are basically defining the version of the solidity that we have, right? This looks good. Also, we have to make sure that we have the license identifier. So it should be license and then identifier should be MIT because this will be open source, semicolon. Yeah, we should be good to go. Now we basically what we're doing is now that we have installed the packages for OpenZeppelin, we will be importing those contracts in our Solidity contract that we're trying to write, right? So the first will be open, and bear with me, like this might take some time because the contracts, yeah, because I have to type it out. It would be better if we could just copy paste, but then I'll try my level best to type everything out in CS2. We are going token, then we want ERC 721 slash extensions. We are looking for ERC 721 with the URI storage dot sol. We have 7 minutes left and there's a lot to do. So I'll just try to then import. Let me do one thing. I have the contract. Let me just copy paste and I'll walk you through as to what is going on. Right. So the first one, what we're trying to do is basically on line 5. This basically contains the implementation of ERC 721 standard, which is our NFT smart contract that we are going to inherit. To be a valid NFT, your smart contract must implement all the methods of the ERC 721 standard, right? What are we doing in line 2? We are basically, what this does is this provides counters that can only be incremented or decremented by 1. So our smart contract uses a counter to keep a track of, let's say, the total number of NFTs that have been minted by unique set of IDs, right, to the new NFT that we are trying to mint. The third one, that is line 7, all we are trying to do is set up the access control on our smart contract so that only owner of the smart contract, let's say that is Hugh, will be able to mint the NFTs. There will be slight modification in the code that I will also let you know, or maybe write in comments. So let's say if you want everybody to mint the NFT that you're trying to upload, that is fine as well. Right. So yeah, I'll just try to explain on the go. I'll just type first and then explain as to what we're doing. My NFT is 721. Yes, it is a URI storage. Yes. Ownable using counters for counters. And then we say counter. Then counters, counter, private token IDs. I'll just quickly write this down as to what I'm doing, and then I'll explain it on the go. Just a second. ERC 721. Here we are just naming the NFT. So I'll name it as my NFT for now. And then the token ID will be NFT parentheses, making sure everything is good, looks good. And then function mint NFT. What do we need here? We need the address of the recipient. String memory to, it should be token URI, obviously, because we imported that. Looks good. I'll try to minimize my terminal a little. Okay, then public. Only owner. Then Wait, only owner. This returns a unit 256 in, got it. We are good to go. And here we have to basically now write to increment the token ID as and when it mints, right? So yeah, by then I can just walk through as to what is happening over here. If you look at line, let's say 9 to, it will go on. Basically, what we're trying to do here is we have our more custom NFT contract, which is sort of it will be like sort of surprisingly short. It contains a counter, a constructor, and a single function. This is thanks to inheriting Open Zeppelin's contract, which has already implemented most of the methods, right? So such as owner of returns the owner of NFTs, and then transfer from, which transfers the ownership of the NFT. Also on the line 13, if you can see, we are trying to pass two strings, which is my NFT and NFT, into EAS and 721 contract. The first variable is the smart contract's name that will be going, and then we will be also be able to check it on the Explorer. And then the next is actually the symbol, right? So you can name each of the variables as to whatever you wish. But then for this, I'm trying to name it as my NFT and then NFT. I think that should be fine. And then once I finish this function as to what we're doing, I can also explain as to what this function is doing. Let me just finish this. We have token IDs dot increment, right? Then what do we do? We need the unit 6 new item ID equal to, yep, we want to token IDs dot current. This should be good. Okay. Then mint, we want the recipient, new item ID. Hopefully somebody is typing along with me as I'm typing this as well. That would be really helpful, because I'm typing I wanted to make sure that at least a few folks are able to complete this as and when I complete it as well. So that is why I wanted this to be a proper walkthrough rather than just me copy pasting the code, explaining it and saying Tata bye-bye. Hopefully somebody does. Let me return this new item ID. Looks good, looks good. Okay. Yeah, I think we are good. This should be small. Okay, ERC 721 should be together. What's the issue over here? It is saying unexpected, expected that, okay. Think something's missing. It should be good to go. Memory, spelling, token URI, and then return is RETURN. Cool. So as of now, what we're doing is that in the mint function, this basically allows us to mint the NFT. As you'll notice, we are passing two functions. We are basically taking into, you'll notice that this function takes in two variables. One is the address recipient, which basically specifies the address that you will receive your freshly minted NFT in. And also the other one, string memory token URI, is a string that should resolve a JSON document that describes the NFT's metadata. So NFT's metadata is basically what brings any sort of NFT to its life. It will give us all sorts of info about its properties, names, description, image, everything. I don't think in this walkthrough we'll be getting time, as we are already past 30 minutes to cover the mint function, but then we'll make sure that we at least get the contract up and running. but then, yeah, the second part of this walkthrough is getting published next week. Yeah, I was just trying to copy paste and see as to everything is correct. um, it will be like 5 minutes more and I should be able to complete this, and hopefully somebody completes this along with me. um, so yeah, I think our mint function, our mint nft.sol is actually ready. Now all we have to make sure is that we have MetaMask connected to the Mantle project. So we'll go and configure that right away, right? So for this step, I won't be opening my MetaMask and also showing. I would also be um, removing my screen from share for a while, import my private key because we'll be using private key for this one, and then sharing my screen again. Hopefully that is fine. Before that, all we have to do is um, let me make sure. Yep. So the next step would be to install the .env package that we'll be using. Env file will have our private key. So npm install .env save. We should be good to go. Also make sure that this is there in your root directory. There are some times where people maybe type ls or maybe cd and then or travel forward, or maybe go to the sub root or subfolders. Make sure everything is getting installed in your root directory. Cool. Once we have this, all we have to do is click on new file, .env. You don't have to name it anything. It shouldn't be xyz abc.env. It should be just .env. Let me just look as to where is scripts deploy.js. Okay, we haven't written that yet. You have to write that as well. So private key equal to, let me just share my screen for a while. I'll just stop sharing. Hopefully it is stopped. If somebody can confirm as well.
Yep, it's not visible.
Okay, thank you. Let me just add it quickly, just a second. Also for the ones who are trying to export their private key, there's multiple guides. You can just definitely check it out. Otherwise, the fastest way is to just open your MetaMask extension, click on your account, go to account settings, export your private key. There's a second tab. I think it's just it's the second option right below exporting or sharing. Yeah, so it should be there right on the top. You should be able to see it, and then you can just type your password and export the private key. Also, the private key wouldn't be including 0x at the start. You have to include that while inserting your private key in your env file. Let me go to trial. This looks good to me. Let me just start sharing my screen again. Wait, let me just remove this first. Save this. Desktop one, share. I think my screen should be visible now.
Yes, it is.
Amazing, cool. Whoa, 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 whoa. Anyways, cool. I think we are on the right file. I had multiple files open, but then no worries. Cool. Once we've done that, make sure to insert your private key, and it should be whatever function or object that is defined by you. So I've written private underscore key is equal to 0x and then your exported private key. No semicolons, nothing is required, just is equal to your private key, and that should do the job, right? Now we have to config, right? So what we are trying to do over here is that we have now throughout, we have added several dependencies and plugins so far. So now we need to update our hardhat.config.js so that our project knows about all of them, right? So let me just go here. And this is pretty standard. I wouldn't be doing anything else. I mean, anything new. but then all you have to do is require dot env dot config semicolon. This should be good to go. Over here, there are a slight modifications required. We'll just make them on the go, right? Like solidity, this is fine. Then we add networks underscore. I think this is pretty important for everybody who wants to deploy, because this is the step this is actually the step where we are configuring as to the credentials for the test net. So next would be basically URL https://rpc.testnet.mantle.xyz. If somebody from the team can also send this across, it would be great. Comma, then accounts, as to which account we want to connect. So we want to process the private key, which is present in the env file. Don't forget a comma after this. I think this looks good. Yep, this should be good. I think there might be a few mistakes here and there with spellings, but then we can always come back to it and then see as to what is going on. Cool. Once that is done, this should help our contract know as to exactly where it needs to deploy on, right? We have given everything that it needs to know. Now we have to write the last thing, which is the deployment script, right? There will be all this which has been preloaded because of hard hat. We won't be needing all this. So let me remove this really quick and let me start typing, and then I can explain on the go. So here, what we are trying to do is, yeah, also like, let's say if your deploy.js isn't there, it should be there because hard hat is there. So all you have to do is just go to scripts, create a new file, and name it deploy.js, and then copy paste as to whatever I'll be typing. I mean, you can't copy paste right now, but then hopefully later, once the walkthrough is out. The first thing to do is grabbing the contract factory. So here, what we do is my NFT is what we named it, is equal to await ethers. Ethers is the library that we're using. So contract factory. Let me just remove it from my cursor. Yeah. Contract factory. This should be actually my NFT. So even before, like, what are we trying to do here? So basically, we are trying to define a function called main that will handle the deployment of the contract, the entire contract, right? So our main goal is that in this main function, we want to define two main things. One is grabbing the contract, and also starting the deployment of the contract, and also returning, let's say it is called a promise that resolves the contract's object. Let me just write it down so that I can explain it in a little better way as well as to what is going on. My NFT is equal to await my NFT, yes. Then it should be deploy, right? Then console.log. We can write contract is deployed to address, address, and then we can get the address. This should be dot address. Yes, address. This looks good. Also, don't worry about the indentation and everything. We'll try, we'll just use prettier which is an extension to make sure everything is good on this. It is saying expected, I think over here. Yeah, it should be good. So actually our main function is actually done, right? Now we are writing the case when, just in case it fails because it is needed. Let me write is equal to also, like, if anybody is just getting started out, it might be too much, but then this is pretty standardized, like so there is nothing to worry about, and most of the things it is already online, and you'll find every piece of code which is already written. If you're importing contracts in general, if you're writing it from scratch, yes, then you need to pretty much know the basics in as to what you're typing. But then yeah, most of the almost everybody imports the contracts because it is also faster, and then builds on top of it. So it should be exit.1. I think this is okay. This should actually be this. Wait, let me just check it. The parentheses, semicolon, where is the semicolon missing? This is fine. This should be good. Good. Let me just run it with prettier. Right. Okay. What happened? Cool. I just copy pasted from the code above. Let me just remove these. Cool. So basically what we're trying to do over here is that we are defining a function called main that will handle the deployment of the contract. Inside the main function, we are using ether.js library over here. That is why ethers is used to get a contract factory for the contract that we have named MyNFT, right? So what exactly is contract factory? Contract factory is like a blueprint that we can use to create multiple instances of the same contract, right? That is what we require while minting the NFTs again and again. So basically what happens next is that the code is using a contract factory to deploy the new instance of my NFT contract, right? This is called by, this is done by calling the function deploy, method deploy on the contract factory. And the code stores the newly deployed contract in a variable, which is called as my NFT over here. The code then basically logs the address of the newly deployed contract using this code. So that we can see where the contract was deployed from. And finally, the code called the function main, which also has the mechanism set up to handle either a successful deployment, or let's say if it has an error, it will throw an error, right? So basically, yeah, that should be enough. I think we are done. That was all. We've deployed, so deployment is done, config is done. Hopefully this isn't breaker. Now all you have to do is deploy the contract. So how do we deploy the contract? Let me just do this. We write npx hard hat run scripts, deploy under scripts. It was deployed.js. Yes. Network is Mantle testnet. Cool. Like we figured, there were a few errors. It is saying expected a string received undefined in the config file. Let me just check as to what is going on. This is fine. This looks good. Mantle.testnet URL. We might be missing a comma somewhere. Process.env.private. Uh, my private key is in there, which I cannot take a look at. String it is showing undefined. Okay, understood. It should be private key. Everything was saved as well. Let me just quickly have a glance as to what is going on. This looks fine to me. Cool.
Utkarsh, I think people are mentioning it in the chat. You have not saved the .env file.
Yeah, I think that might be okay. Let me just stop sharing my screen again. Yeah, I think I haven't saved the log.env file. Oh yeah, it wasn't saved. Hopefully my screen isn't visible.
No, it's not.
Okay. Let me just share. Whoops. Let me run that again. There's a ton solidity file. My NFT is not found. Okay. Um,
Someone mentioned in this chat that your Solidity file is also not saved. My NFT.soft.
yeah. Yeah. I think there's a, yeah, my command and everything isn't. Let me just close this first. Save. We should be good to go now. Cool. Finally. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for that. I think everybody was actually listening as well. So we can see the contract is deployed to this address. We can go to explorer.mantle.xyz. Let me just create a new window. Yep. So our contract is deployed. We can see it was deployed almost 32 seconds ago. We are already past time. We have taken almost like 20 minutes more, which I'm really sorry for. That we won't be able to go over the main function. But then also thanks to the audience for looking out that I hadn't saved my files out of everything. Yeah. But then thanks for the inputs. Glad to know that a lot of people were listening. Like that is what is making me more happier than anything else as of now. But then yes, now we can actually take questions if we have time. If my teammates have already answered the questions, that is amazing.
Yeah, I think most of the questions have already been answered.
Yep.
Yep.
So thanks everybody for the last minute inputs. It actually makes me happy to know that people were actually looking closely. Yeah, out of everything, it was not saving the files. But then thanks again for joining in. Website, the main website for Mantle is mantle.xyz. For any sorts of, let's say, doubts or any questions, you can also reach out to me at utkarsh@mantle.xyz. Our main Twitter is ox.mantle. Make sure to join our Discord because that is where almost all of our community members are active, and that is what we use very heavily. Make sure to tune in for the announcements that are upcoming. But then, yeah, like Discord is pretty main. So make sure to join in our Discord for any sorts of updates that you want. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful for a lot of folks who were trying to build. And next week, I'll be making sure that another walkthrough goes out for minting as well. So yeah, thanks again for joining in. It was a good time.
Right. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. I think we learned a great deal today, and yep, feel free to reach out to the Mantle team on the this on the Mantle channel on Discord, on our Defolio Discord. The team is super active over there. So if there are some questions which were not covered in this workshop, feel free to put it there. The team is definitely gonna help you out with that. And thanks a lot, Utkarsh, for taking out the time and helping out the builders here at Eats for All to learn all about Mantle, the bounties, and all.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Also, to the builders out there, I mean, right now, I obviously understand that there's a lot of requests on the configuration side. Just make sure to hit any of our team members on Discord, and we'll make sure that we are guiding you and also helping you for the config with the various SDKs or let's say languages out there. We'll sit with you and we'll also try to make sure that the config is happening so that everybody is able to build and ship things very fast, right? We are like literally one Discord channel away. So make sure to use Discord channels and then just tag us and we'll be there to help you out. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Got everyone. So those of you who were waiting for the quiz, I have put the link in the chat. And folks, let's get to the next workshop we have lined up. So I'll be starting that right now. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, cool. Bye-bye.